Jared Dillian Show.
I'm Jared Dillian. This is the Jared Dillian Show. If you want to call to talk about your money, please call 844-305-7800. That's 844-305-7800. This is the Jared Dillian Show. I've been a boss at a couple points in my life. I was a boss very early. 23 years old, I was in the Coast Guard. I had 24 people working for me. And that's the thing about the military, you know. They give a lot of responsibility to people at a very young age. Like, a lot of responsibility. And for sure, I was not ready for that responsibility. No, absolutely not. I did not have the maturity. But it matured me quite a bit. At Lehman Brothers, I was also a boss. I had 2 people working for me. But that kind of relationship was different. It's wasn't really telling people what to do. We were more of like a team. It was definitely more collaborative. But I guess I was a boss there. And in the newsletter business, over the years, I've had 7 people working for me. And all of them have been great. They're all fantastic. But all it takes is one bad apple to destroy morale and hit you with a bunch of lawsuits. Hiring people is tough. It's really tough. First of all, you gotta hire somebody that doesn't cause problems. The last thing you want is to get sued and deal with all this nonsense. It'll just like steal your chi, and it's bad. Like I said, I've had 7 employees all over the years, all great people. So how have I hired people? And it's not what I would call really an exact science. And this is I'm just going to tell you what I've done. I'm not being prescriptive. I'm not telling you what to do. But when I've hired people, these are the things I looked at. And an obvious place to look is grades. So what does grades tell you? If somebody has a 3.9 grade point average, what does that tell you? I think most of all, it tells you that this person is conscientious. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're smart, although that is an element of it. They might be smart. They probably are smart, but maybe not. What it means that they are conscientious, and they hand in assignments on time, and they show up for exams, and they try hard, and these are good qualities to have. I mean, if you're interviewing 2 people and one of them has a 3.9 and the other one has a 3.2, the person that has a 3.2, you have to ask them, like, why do you have a 3.2? Why are your grades not higher? And you have to listen to the answer. I interviewed a guy, I didn't hire him, but I interviewed a guy last year, and he had a 3, 4, 5, something like that. And he was smart because I actually had him as a student. And I said, buddy, why the 3.5? Like, why don't you have a 4.0? Like, you're totally capable of this. And he was totally honest. He said, look, I got to college. I was 18 years old, and I just wanted to party. And basically, for like 3 semesters or 2 semesters, I had like under a 2.0. And he said, basically, I just grew up. And I've been getting like a 4.0 ever since then. And I said, okay, that's a good answer, In fact, that's pretty much the best answer that you want to hear. But I do think that somebody who has good grades is conscientious. It means they're organized and they do what they're supposed to do. Now, back 20 years ago, people put SAT scores on their resume. And they don't generally do that anymore. It's not the thing to do. But you can do that if you want to. It's a little pretentious. But if you have a really high SAT score, then maybe you want to do that. If you have a high SAT score and low grades, then maybe that's not a good idea. But you can always ask for SAT scores, which will directly tell you if somebody is smart. It is basically an IQ test. Okay. I like to look for people who are well-rounded, right? I like to look for people who have a lot of stuff going on in their lives. Doing sports is great. Like it doesn't matter what the sport is. Sports is great. Doing music is great. Having outside interest is great, whether it's writing or art or whatever. I'm very suspicious of these people that went to school and didn't do anything else. Like, they just went to school. And my question is, what did you do with your free time? Honestly, for me, the interview is really key. Like, I can't hire somebody just on paper. I actually did some interviews about a month ago over Skype, and it wasn't the same. It's not the same. I have pretty good people skills. I'm good at reading people. And in an interview, it's good to have some personality. It's good to have personality in the interview. You're going to be working with this person 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You want to be with somebody who is fun to be around. You also want to hire somebody who is honest. How do you tell if somebody is honest? Again, it's a feel thing. It's a feel thing in the interview, what kind of vibe somebody gives off. It comes down to your interviewing skills. Just because somebody goes to church doesn't mean they're honest. It's what people do when nobody is looking that counts. You also want to find someone with an unlimited capacity for work. And I hired a guy one time. The guy was he was a worker. The guy would just work and work and work and work. And you want to find somebody with perseverance, somebody who is not easily frustrated by things and gives up. And that, you can look on the resume and you can see what types of things this person has accomplished. Have they written an academic paper? That is a big accomplishment. Have they completed a big research project? That is a big accomplishment. I like to look for lots and lots of accomplishments. When I look at a resume, I always go down to the other section. So you have academics, you have professional experience, then you have the other section. I go to the other section first. What kind of person in this? So in my other section, I talk about how I am a DJ, how I'm a progressive house DJ. It's a conversation starter. Someone might say that they're a unicyclist or that they're a car mechanic. I like to hire interesting people. I don't like to hire boring people. I don't really want to hire somebody that parties and is going to show up to work hungover. How do you figure that out? Again, in the interview, you got to feel somebody out. You got to get a vibe. Is this person a partier or not? So there's some pretty sophisticated poker going on here in the interview. I ask a bunch of questions of what people do in their free time. And that's always the tell. What do you do with your free time? If you ask somebody what they do with their free time and their answer is, it means that they have lots of free time and they're not using it very well. They're playing video games or they're drinking or they're doing whatever. And I want somebody who utilizes their free time. Now, one of my favorite interview questions of all time, actually it's the favorite interview question of all time. You see, when I worked at Lehman Brothers, I interviewed a lot of people, and all these kids were terrific. They all had amazing grades, lots of activities, lots of experience. They're all the same. So how do you differentiate between these people? And the question I would always ask is, are you lucky? I would ask these people, are you lucky? And they'd stop them in their tracks. They'd say, well, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't mean anything. I just mean, are you lucky? And I didn't ask if you think you're lucky. I asked if you are lucky. And the wrong answer is no. The right answer is yes. And an okay answer is I make my own luck. Okay? But I want to be around lucky people. I want to be around people who good things happen to. And people, if they believe that they're lucky, if they truly believe that they're lucky, then they are lucky, then good things will happen to them. And every setback will be interpreted as an opportunity. Every setback will be interpreted as an opportunity. I truly believe that I am one of the luckiest people in the world. Good stuff happens to me all the time. Doesn't mean that things are always easy or that things aren't a struggle, but good things happen to me all the time. And I put myself in a position where good things can happen to me. I take risks. I want to work with people who are lucky. I don't want to work with people who have bad luck. I'm Jared Dillian. This is The Jared Dillian Show.
Jared Dillian. Now you know a rich guy.